De todo este sistema que relaciona el teclado con su do central y las dos claves, clave de sol en segunda para la mano derecha y clave de fa en cuarta para la mano izquierda, los sonidos graves, nos vamos a concentrar en esta última, para lo cual nos acercamos. Entonces, para poder reconocerlas rápidamente en el pentagrama, ustedes ya conocen G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Las notas que están contenidas en el pentagrama. Línea, espacio, vamos nuevamente. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Notan que como empieza el comienzo del abecedario, es muy fácil seguirlas. Puse un poco lejos las letras para que nos forcemos a recordar la posición. ¿Ya? Podemos hacerlo también. Esto, línea, espacio, es muy fácil por la relación con el abecedario. Podemos hacer solo las líneas. ¿Ya? G, lento. B en la segunda. D en la tercera. F, que le da el nombre de la clave, en la cuarta. Y A. Nuevamente, más rápido. G, B, D, F, A. G, B, D, F, A. Otra vez. G, B, D, F, A. G, B, D, F, A. Ahora los espacios. Son 4. Muy fácil. A, C, E, G. En el primer espacio A, en el segundo espacio C, en el tercer espacio E, en el cuarto espacio G. Lo podemos hacer más rápido. A, C, E, G. A, C, E, G. A, C, E, G. Y esta es la manera en la que podemos cada vez acelerar más la identificación de cada nota. Nos vemos en la próxima clase.
Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to a new segment with Miguel, your music teacher. So this moment right now, we're going to learn about the string family, okay? So this family of instruments are going to be all instruments that have strings, so you can play them. So we're going to see some examples of those. First, what we're going to learn is this. They are classified into 2 groups. Okay, we have the symphonic string instruments and then we have the modern string instruments. Don't worry about the word. I know symphonic looks like fancy and like sophisticated or like complicated, but it's not that really, okay? So when we talk about symphonic instruments, we're talking about all the instruments that are used in symphonic orchestras, okay? So these are all the string instruments that you find in an orchestra. First, you have the violins, then you have the violas, then you have the cellos, and you have the double bass. Okay, we're gonna see each of them so you can see all the characteristics that they have. Okay, again, these are all the symphonic string instruments. So let's see the first instrument, the violin. Okay, I'm sure you have all seen the violin before. Okay, it's this little, it looks like a guitar. Not quite like the guitar, but similar. Okay, the shape is very, very similar. It's made of wood, and then you have these strings right here. One difference is that normally you play the violin with this thing right here, which is called a bow. okay? You can play it with your fingers also, but normally you play with the bow, okay? It doesn't have a hole here like the guitar, but it's very, very similar. Also, the violin has 4 strings. I don't know if you can see them right here, but it has 4 strings, and the guitar has 6, okay? So that is one key difference. So this is the violin. The next one is the viola. Some people might say, all right, when they first see the viola, that it's exactly like the violin. Yes, but the one difference that the viola has is that it's bigger. Okay, the only difference is the size. Okay, the viola is a little bit bigger than the violin, so that makes it sound a little bit lower in pitch. Okay, the violin is going to sound higher in pitch, but the viola is going to sound lower in pitch because the size is bigger. The bigger the instrument, the lower the pitch of the instrument is going to be. Let's continue with the next instrument. That was the viola. Here we have the cello. Again, very, very similar to the violin. But since it is way bigger than the violin and the viola, it's not going to be played here on your neck. It's going to be played on your legs because of the size, okay? Again, it's going to have, again, 4 strings like the viola and the violin, but it's going to be played on your lap, okay? Because of the size of the instrument. And since the size is bigger than the violin and the viola, of course, the pitch is going to be also lower. And then we go to the biggest of all string instruments of the symphonic orchestra, and we have the double bass. Okay, it looks like a huge violin. It looks like a very, very big violin, but it's not going to be sounding like a violin. It's going to be sounding way, way, way lower. And you don't play it again here like the violin or the viola. It's going to be played a little bit more like the cello on your lap. You can play it sitting down or you can play it standing up. Now, since it is way bigger, you will not be able to play it sitting down on a normal chair. You have to do it on a high chair because of how big the instrument is. Okay, so those are the 4 instruments, the 4 string instruments that are part of the symphonic orchestra. And now we're going to move on to the modern. Oh, no, wait. We have one left, the harp here. This is also a string instrument. It's way, way different than the ones we saw before. Okay, as you can see, it has way more than 4 strings. Okay, it has a lot of strings and it's a very, very big instrument. It's also a very complicated instrument to play. Why? Because not only do you have to play the strings on the harp, it also has pedals on the bottom that, depending on how you press the pedals, the sound of the strings will change. So it's a very, very complicated instrument to play. But it sounds very, very beautiful, okay? Normally when you hear harps, it's people use harps when they try to like make you think of the heavens, okay? Or the clouds or the sky, something like very, very angelic, okay? So that is the harp. So those are the 5 instruments that we see on the symphonic orchestra that belong to the string family. Now, the classical guitar. This can be used in classical music, or it can also be used in modern music. That's why I put it right here. Okay, so the classical guitar is made of wood. Okay, it has 6 strings instead of 4 like the other instruments, and instead of the harp that has many, many, many strings, it has 6 strings, and you play it with your hands and your fingers. You don't use a bow to play the guitar. Okay, that is the classical guitar. And now we have the modern string instruments, okay? So we're gonna see each of them individually so you know what the differences are. Then we have the acoustic guitar, okay? What is the difference between the acoustic guitar and the classical guitar? First, let's go with what are the similarities. So they are both made of wood. They both have 6 strings. The difference is the shape. Okay, the shape is very, very similar, but the acoustic guitar is going to be a little bit bigger. Okay, so let me just go back to the classical guitar so you can see. The classical guitar is a little bit thinner and the acoustic guitar is a little bit wider. That is one difference. And the second difference is that the material that the strings are made of. These strings are made of metal, of steel, but the classical guitar, the strings are made of nylon. Okay, so that is going to make it sound way, way different. Okay, similar, but not quite the same. So that is the acoustic guitar. And then we go to the electric guitar. Now, why have I put all those pictures of the electric guitar? Because there are so many different models that putting only one model, it will not be enough, okay? Because there are many, many, many different styles of electric guitar. There are electric guitars used for jazz, used for blues, used for rock and roll, used for pop, used for heavy metal, and they all look different, okay? So that's why I put all those right here, okay? There are so many different brands of guitar and different styles and models that it will be very difficult to put them all in just one video, okay? The only thing you need to know right now is that the electric guitar is one of the most popular instruments in the world, and because of that, there are so many different styles of electric guitars, okay? Continuing, then we have the acoustic bass, okay? The bass is gonna sound similar to the double bass of the symphonic instruments. If you remember from a few minutes ago, the double bass was the instrument that had the lowest pitch, okay? The acoustic bass is gonna be similar to that. Not so low in pitch, but very similar to that. And here you see that it has 1, 2, 3, 4 strings. Now, the majority of basses have 4 strings, but some basses have 5 strings or even 6. But the vast majority of them will only have 4, the acoustic bass, okay? You also play it with your fingers. And then we have the electric bass, which is exactly the same as the acoustic bass, but it's just electric. Okay, so for it to sound, you need to connect it to an amplifier, because if not, you will not hear it at all. Okay, again, it has 4 strings, but you can find them in 5 strings or even 6 strings. But the vast majority will only have 4. Okay, the classic bass is gonna have 4 strings. Okay, so that is it for today for the string family. I hope you enjoyed it. Here you're gonna have some more activities, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.
The percussion family. The percussion family includes a vast range of instruments which produce sounds when struck, scrapped, or shaken. Okay, as you can see here, we have some instruments that we have in school. For example, the drum kit, also the congas, the xylophones, the woodblocks, the scrappers, and so on. Percussion family is divided in 2 groups. Rhythmic percussion and melodic percussion. Rhythmic percussion instruments are written in percussion clef, on-pitch percussion. For example, the drum set, congas, cajon, etc. Melodic percussion instruments are written in treble and bass clef, pitch percussion. That means those instruments have musical notes. For example, the xylophone. The drum set. The drum set is divided by many instruments: snare drum, bass drum, toms, and cymbals. We use it in ensembles and we use it in band. It is a very common instrument in many music styles, like pop, rock, jazz, and so on. Now let's see an example. Congas. This instrument is very common in Latin music styles, like salsa, merengue, and so on. Now let's see an example. Bongos. This musical instrument is very similar to the congas. It has a higher sound. Now let's see an example. Djembe. This is an African traditional percussion instrument. It is commonly used in that continent. Now let's see an example. Minor percussion instruments. Triangle. The triangle is used in orchestras and in the exercise that we're gonna learn in school. Claves. These are wooden instruments for keeping the beat. It is used as a complement in percussion ensembles. Tambourine. It is also used in percussion ensembles and it has a higher sound. Egg shakers. It is also used in percussion ensembles and it has a particular sound. Now let's see an example. Xylophone. This is the main melodic percussion instrument in school. We use it as keeping the melody in the band and in percussion ensembles. Now let's see an example. Timpani. These are instruments that we can read in bass clef, and it is very commonly used in orchestras. Now let's see an example. Mbira. This is an ancient African instrument and it has a magical sound. Now let's see an example. Handpan. This is a Swiss musical instrument. It is very commonly used nowadays, and it's made by metal. Now let's see an example.
Today, the homework will be fun. Yes, you will ask why. So if you have any member of the families that will learn today, you can go and get them.
At home,
My dad has a guitar, so I asked him if I can work the homework with this one. How can I do it? Look what I have here. You think your guitar is interesting? Look, my big brother has a drum set, and I took this thing from his room, and I'm going to work the homework with this thing. I don't have any of those instruments. I don't know how can I work the homework. I think I'm not gonna do it. Oh no, guys, it's okay if you don't have any instrument at home. We are going to create percussion instruments to work the homework. It's easy. We are so creative. So let's work.
2 hours later.
Let me show you a few things that I found at home that can work like an percussion instrument. This thing, cooking pot, this carton can, this empty can, and a shoe box. So it can work. A plastic container, empty, and this thing is plastic too. This is the rhythmic exercise that you will find in your Schoology. So check how you have to work the homework. Keeping the steady beat here, 1, 2, 3, and singing each note like this. Here's an example. 1, 2, 3, and da 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 ti da 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 ti da. With the guitar is the same. Keep the steady beat with one string like this. 1, 2, 3, and da 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 ti da 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 ti da. It's easy. Keeping the steady beat and singing each note. For instructions for the homework, go to your Schoology and read carefully how you have to upload the video for the homework of this week. Thank you guys. Bye.